Let's format the table, meaning we will change its appearance to make the data easier to understand. Select the range of cells from B7 to B19, and on the Home tab use the Number toolbar. This field displays the current format of the selected cell or range of cells. All the selected cells have the general format. It is applied by default to all cells in a new document. If we expand the drop-down list, we can see other formats that we can apply to the selected range. Let's choose the accounting format. Now, let's take care of the appearance of the table itself. Select the range of cells from A6 to B19, and on the Home tab open the Format as Table menu. Here you can find styles. We can choose one of the pre-made styles, or create our own. For now, let's use one of the pre-made templates without going into details. A window will appear allowing you to create a table. Each sheet in Excel is essentially a table, but the program has a separate object with the same name. It has many advantages over the usual ranges with data. We will definitely talk about tables later in another video. They are a very powerful tool that makes working with data in Excel much easier. At this point, it's just worth knowing that a table is a separate object that has a header row. Here we can specify whether the selected range has headers or not. Since the first row of the range contains column headers, we will leave the box checked. If this were simple data with no header, we could uncheck the box and then Excel would create a new header row. The range we have selected is specified as absolute references in this window. The range of cells in Excel is indicated by the addresses of the top left and bottom right cells, which are written with a colon. In our case, the cell addresses are represented as absolute references, meaning the $sign is used in the references. Let's create a table, and the selected range will get the formatting we specified. Many actions in Excel can be performed in different ways. For example, a table can be created through the Insert tab by selecting the appropriate tool. Let's undo the last action and create the table again. In doing so, we will not pre-select the entire range of values. The point is that Excel is able to define a contiguous range of cells with data on its own. It makes the work much easier. It is enough to place the table cursor in any of the cells with data and select the Table tool on the Insert tab. A table will be created, but it will have default formatting. Changing the formatting of the table is very easy. Since a table is an object, when you select any of its cells, a new tab appears on the ribbon called Table Design. This is a contextual tab. Contextual tabs appear on the ribbon when an object, such as a table, chart, or shape, is selected in the program. These tabs contain tools that can only be used for working with a specific object. In our case, it is a table. This tab is used to customize the appearance of the table. Let's use the pre-made style from the drop-down list. When you hover over a style from the list, it will be temporarily applied, allowing you to evaluate the appearance of the table. Pay attention to the Table Style Options toolbar. It allows you to fine-tune the appearance and functionality of the table. For example, we can enable the Total Row option, which will automatically create a row at the bottom of the table with the total value of all cells in the column with data. This may not be relevant in our case, but it can be quite useful when creating other types of tables. To make the data in the table more readable, let's make it bold. To do this, select the range of cells B7 B19 and use the Font toolbar on the Home tab. Similarly, change the formatting of cells B3 and B4 to make the data in them bolder, and also change the numeric formatting for the deposit amount to accounting. You don't have to search for the required format in the list. Just click on the corresponding tool below. Also, pay attention to the % style, which can be specified using the corresponding button or selected from the list. Our interest rate is set in %, so it makes sense to use this format for the corresponding cell. However, there is a catch. If we apply this format to an already entered value, we will get the value increased by 100. I suggest setting the value manually for now without further investigation. If we enter a value into a cell and add a % sign from the keyboard, Excel will understand that the cell should have a % format, and will automatically adjust it. You can easily verify this by selecting the cell and checking the field on the Number toolbar. Do you remember that we also specified percentages in the formulas? Therefore, we need to edit our calculations by removing the % sign. The correct value will now be taken directly from the corresponding cell. Next, let's work on a header of the table in cell A1. We can choose a different font for it, and then adjust the size. This can be done by selecting a value from the drop-down list, or if the desired size is not available, you can manually enter it, and press Enter. I also suggest making the income row more expressive. Let's change the fill color of this row to a darker one, and to ensure the text is readable, change its color to white. Now, the data in the table is much easier to read, and the only thing left is to create a graphical representation of this data. In the next video, we will create a chart that will visually represent the data from our calculations.